House resumes, and before debate continues, I did tell the member that I'd be replying to his query, and I just made a little note. The member for Roseau asked me to rethink my decision, and I said, look, in the spirit of harmony, which is, at least if I can institute it in this house, it would be a good thing. And also because I see that the member is taking on my suggestion to read the rules. And so since he's reading the rules, I hope he's understanding them. And so that when he does things that are outside of the rules, he would appreciate and know in advance what the repercussions are likely to be. And the untoward actions of members would be curtailed somewhat. In light of that, I am withdrawing my ruling as it relates to the member speaking, but I'm putting him on very clear notice that any repetition of any name calling of the speaker or anybody in this chamber or any such ruling that is breached, the entire Standing Order 50 will be brought to bear. Can we continue with the debate now, please? If nobody, oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Respectfully, I stand respectfully, Madam Speaker. I know debate, you said debate resumes, but we're having a little discussion on emotion.
I'm not hearing you, no member.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I submitted the motion to the Honorable Speaker, Clerk, Madam Speaker.
To let you know, it's not in the proper format. Be that as it may, I am looking at the wording of it. And you say it's a motion of privilege that you're bringing. Is that correct? Okay. So if it is a motion of privilege, under what standing order you're bringing it?
Under Standing Order 48C, Madam Speaker.
C.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Now, for purposes, you do realize the House is this chamber, not the precinct, okay?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Okay. And so I think it's a motion of privilege that you brought before me.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And I'm going to permit you to read it.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And thereafter, you will, it's a motion of privilege. It will be subject to the rules.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And as it is a matter of privilege, I have to, if what this thing is saying, you hold it out as being the correct
Yes,
situation, then it being a matter of privilege, I have to take it first.
Yes, Madam
Before any other matter. And so, you're making some very serious allegations in there.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And if you're told that they are maintained, then it is a matter of privilege.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
You will read your motion.
Yes.
As I said, it's not in its correct form. But
Yes, Madam
because
Speaker.
it is a motion of privilege, I will permit you to.
can go, Madam Speaker?
Yes. I think the member has...
Yeah, I think it would be only proper that the document be circulated.
I was just going to say that the member should be circulating, everybody should have a copy of it. Who has a copy of it so far? Just you and me? Pardon?
But I can read it, Madam
I'm the only
Speaker.
person with a copy?
Yes, but Madam Speaker, I can read it, Madam Speaker.
No, but the members need to see it for themselves. You should go and get copies of it.
Yes.
We'll continue
so,
with
Madam
the...
Speaker, we can continue the debate, and then after the other speaker, I would respectfully ask that...
No, we have to do things in the proper way. You go and photocopy it.
Okay, fine.
We'll allow another member to speak, and in the meantime... Okay? So can we have somebody speaking on the motion, what is before the House until the member has completed what he's doing? Okay.
Madam Speaker,
Yes?
I stand to support the Supplementary Appropriation 2017 of $5.8 million, $5.1 million towards enterprise development, first of all. Madam Speaker, this is because, under the direction of the Honorable Prime Minister, the Ministry of Commerce has moved towards decentralization of funds, an important and effective approach towards spreading the culture of entrepreneurship, building the sector of enterprise, and strengthening the private sector. It speaks to more equitable distribution of resources and inclusion of all. This strategy encourages entrepreneurial activity in rural communities, as increasingly we, the government of Dominica, strive to develop strategies to sustain local economies. Madam Speaker, this government never loses sight of the importance of entrepreneurship, not only to create employment and sustain livelihoods, but the potential of entrepreneurship to boost local economies by tapping local talent and resources, and to help keep local populations from rural to urban migration. Madam Speaker, up to April, from July to April, through decentralized funds, 479 small businesses across 8 communities in Dominica has benefited from the $2.8 million targeting these communities. And this is in addition to other applicants who benefited from the ministry's overall program. Madam Speaker, when I speak of this, I speak here of the several small agro-processors who have benefited. The virgin oil producers, the cocoa producers, the herbal tea producers, those involved in the production of sweets and confectionaries, those making cassava bread, breadfruit and potato flours, the beekeepers engaged in production for the local and export market. Madam Speaker, we speak of the ordinary women, men, and youth of this country who are benefiting from this program. Madam Speaker, I reference a number of women in cottage-type industries, the seamstresses, the fashion designers, hair braiders, the craft women, many having sole responsibilities of caring for their family, who are now more empowered and gainfully employed because of this program and because of this investment. Madam Speaker, I refer to quite a few who are now involved in poultry and livestock to begin to produce to supply the national abattoir, and who are happy to have received the support from business startups and acceleration. Again, Madam Speaker, because of the government's investments I proudly note a number of young people who have received help from the Ministry of Commerce and are reporting success stories. A few of them are now able to take on small projects and provide products and services to firms in construction, in using modern technology, in graphics and ICT, and that some of them are now able to expand and create jobs for others. Yes, Madam Speaker, I recall a recent conversation with a young man who told me how an injection of a small amount of funds was utilized to install new equipment at his business, which helped him to reduce loss, and now he has the potential to employ 3 other persons. He's also able to widen his market reach. Or I also recall another who started his business with just a few $1,000s through our support, but can now boast of his first employee within a short space of time. Madam Speaker, I am sure Dominicans from across the island know of friends, relatives, neighbors, who you know would probably have never been able to take the necessary risk, that is, to go to a bank because they do not have the necessary collateral. But with our support, they have been able to establish small businesses, expand, get struggling businesses on their feet again, get funds for infant businesses to create a livelihood and to provide products and services to their communities and country. But that's not all, Madam Speaker. Funds are not just disbursed and people remain on their own, but they are supported by technical advice, training, and monitoring. In fact, in the last 2 months, we have trained 369 small entrepreneurs in 6 villages in various districts. And even as we speak today, there is ongoing training this week in 2 additional communities. So, Madam Speaker, we are investing in our people. We are empowering our people. And so I support this supplementary appropriation. The ministry also runs concurrently a rural-based enterprise program that has begun to significantly impact not only the participants and their families, but wider communities. For example, the more recently launched programs, where 10 young fishermen of Cassibus were trained in partnership with the youth division. They were trained in things like boat building, in fish pot making, and fishing techniques. And now through our incubation program, and we also equip them, and now through our incubation program, they're already helping to restore fishing activities in Cassibus. Oh, Madam Speaker, the 12 women of the Southeast Women Organic Farmers Enterprise involved in the production of organic vegetables already showing a high level of success and potential impact on the communities. So we cannot overemphasize the importance of investing in our people through our Small Business Development Enterprise Initiative, and more so, reaching out to rural communities through our decentralized funds. So we are speaking of empowerment of women, men, and youth of various rural communities, benefiting from grants, training, and incubation, and clustering programs, and contributing individually or collectively to a more diversified and expanded rural economy. The government of Dominica also does not leave it there, but as usual, we know that this government caters to the needs of people at varying levels. So you have those who are unable to face the bank, but you also have those who can go to the bank, but for concessionary loans. Because our government has placed at the aid bank the various credit facilities targeting different productive sectors. You have $15 million for tourism at 3% interest rate and 1 year grace period. You have $10 million targeting agriculture and 6 months grace period, 3% interest. And you also have $1 million targeting the music industry at 2% interest and 1 year, 6 months grace period. So it cannot get better than that. This government is a caring government and understands the needs of the people and are investing in the people. And you also have the DYBT 1 million you saw in the supplementary estimates, $1 million provided for the DYBT program, where it is encouraging our young people and supporting our young people to get into enterprise. I also support the supplementary appropriation bill in terms of the $5 million investment in the National Employment Program. The National Employment Program also supports private sector. Many of us know, and especially the business community, the private sector community, and including this member from Roseau, he's a business owner. He knows of the struggles and he knows of the importance of capital resources, but also human capital. And through the National Employment Program, we are able to support businesses by providing interns. We are building the human capital, and we are allowing young people to build their career paths, gain knowledge, gain skills. Also, the National Employment Program allows us to have a more beautiful environment within all communities in Dominica and in the capital city, and which adds that sense of national and personal pride. So the National Employment Program is a program that we cannot even place a money value on. It is beyond, because it is building community, it is building the nation for now and the future. I also support, in fact support, not want to, I support the, I also support, the contribution in this supplementary estimate, yes, because everything we do is positive, unlike the other side. While we are building, there are some who are destroying. So we continue to build. And I do support the community projects, the contributions to the community projects, of which every constituency benefited from or continue to benefit from. We recall this morning that the Prime Minister outlined in detail that the 21 constituencies in Dominica benefited from small community projects. Each constituency received $300,000 for small community projects. All 21 constituencies. That is a government that cares. That is a government that does not discriminate. We have also launched, and you would see it under the appropriation, supplementary appropriations as well, village roads, and I am happy to note that my constituency has benefited from $901,742 to build much needed roads. So even while we focus on many national projects that will have great impact on the entire country, we also ensure that rural communities are not left out, that rural communities, they grow apart with the national economy. I would also like to support again the washroom, the housing and sanitation program, a program that we continue to receive blessings and prayers for. And that is why we will continue to remain working for the people, working with the people to ensure that we improve their quality of life. And the washrooms in particular, I can tell you that we who are in touch with the people know how this touches the very core of families in Dominica. It brings that feeling of social well-being to be able to know that you can flush your washroom rather than go out in the rain, in the dirt, under any weather condition, finding a pit latrine. And indeed, my constituency is benefiting significantly from this program. And even as we speak, 50 washrooms, an additional 50 washrooms is being built in Kalibishi. 30 washrooms have been approved and are soon to be built in Pebush, and 20 in Pebush and another 30 in Benz and Zimbi and Solda. So we continue to do the work of our people, and only anybody with a conscience, any patriot will stand today and say that they support the supplementary estimates, they support the pit latrine elimination program, they support improved housing and sanitation for particularly the less fortunate. Because, mark you, the people who would not have a flush toilet are usually those who are unable to afford. So we are targeting the underprivileged persons in this society. And that is the hallmark of this administration. This administration looks out for the poor, the downtrodden, the disadvantaged. We understand their needs and we cater to their needs. And they will continue to offer prayers for us, and we will continue to be protected by the right hand of God despite the challenges and the noise around us. And so, Madam Speaker, I have no reservation, like every patriotic, conscious, loving Dominican. I stand and I support the supplementary estimates presented here today. And I also want to add my voice to encourage everyone to take advantage of the various opportunities that is provided for you. Make good use of the funds provided for you and succeed, because the success that you enjoy is the success that we enjoy as a government, and the country will also enjoy. And I also will add my voice to encourage every conscious Dominican, every patriotic Dominican, that we should support the Citizenship by Investment program. Some people may pretend not to support it, but I think they would love the resources. So, and the resources continue to benefit their constituencies anyway, and the country and their businesses. Because if the economy expands, if the economy improves, it improves for all. The light shines on all of us. And so we should support the Citizenship by Investment program. It is what is providing the necessary resources for the development of this country. And I will continue to say that anybody who seeks to defeat the Citizenship by Investment program, I consider an enemy of the state. So, without any additional words, I support this supplementary appropriation bill and stand fully behind it.
I take it that all members have received a copy of the motion that the member proposes to bring to the House. I just need to say, though, that the motion comes under Standing Order 44, but it contains matters of a nature that, to my mind, how should I put it? I mean, let's put it this way. There's a motion before the House. Allegations are made against a member. It may be wise, or it may be, you know, if the member admits to the things in there, that's a matter, everything is okay, we can go ahead with the motion. But the thing about it is, the last time such a motion happened, I remember it was put before the Privileges Committee. The Privileges Committee did its investigation, and then the report of the Privileges Committee was brought to the House, and that is when the House decided on what action to take. I don't know if it was done quite a while ago. I don't know if there's any members here who recall. Yeah.
Madam Speaker, in respect to the motion that has been proposed by the member, I wish also to bring the House attention to 5010 and 10A and 10B in particular.
That's what I'm saying, that we really need to bring this before the Privileges Committee. That's for
the purpose of the public. If you allow me, Madam Speaker. 5010A says, the member, in the case of a breach of privilege, the member must first make a complaint that there has been a breach of privilege, and then declare that he intends to propose a motion to that effect. 10B goes on to say, the motion must set out the accusation in explicit but moderate terms, together with the facts of the case. As it is now, Madam Speaker, the document which is before us is not in conformity with 5010A and 5010B, because one of the crucial pieces of evidence, I would think, is at what time was this allegation came to the knowledge of the member. And of course, there are other explicit details which the rules require in order for us to proceed with the motion brought by the member for Royal Central.
Madam Speaker, I went specifically to a standing order and clearly indicated what it is. There is no long explanation to give. It is just an allegation, he said. But I am saying that there is the actual standing order number, which is 48C, which clearly says what I'm talking about in the motion.
You see, just one moment, please. Members, we have to get into the habit of reading all the rules relating to a matter. Each rule says something specific. Even if you read, there's three things that you need to read. The first is that when you read Standing Order 31, which is it? 31.9. 31.9, Standing Order 31.9 is talking about a motion of privilege, and it's one that doesn't require notice. So that's one thing. One hurdle is a motion of privilege does not require notice. The second thing that you read now is what the person is alleged to have done, which caused the breach or the privilege. And so you read Standing Order 44. Is it 44? Okay. 48, sorry, yes. Okay? 40, right. No, you can't. No, 1 minute, please. Having read the second one now, which there is a privilege, a breach of privilege. This is what you can do about the privilege. Now, this is how you can do what you want to do about the privilege. And that is what you're reading there in 5010 and so on. So you can't read any one standing order in isolation. They're all linked together. So for purposes of us here now, I was trying to remember what happened because we did have one such situation before, and I do remember that the matter had to go before the Privileges Committee. That is what the Privileges Committee is there to do, to decide whether the allegation that there has been a breach of privilege is in fact true. You understand? So it's not, so you brought this to me, I showed it to you, it's your allegation. So now, I do recall, as I said, that this matter went to the Privileges Committee. Now, I am not sure, but the clerk would be able to tell me whether, in fact, we have a full Privileges Committee, because I do recall at some point, members of one side had not put persons forward for certain committees, and so the whole committee wasn't there. I don't know if this is the case now. Do we have a full complement of members for the Privileges Committee? Okay, so we have a full complement of
Madam
Privileges
Speaker,
yes?
Again, in the rule or the standing order that I'm quoting, it says clearly what the allegation is. So, so I'm not seeing why I just can't read it.
Does it tell you how it is dealt with? Which is what 5010 tends to do.
Okay, Madam Speaker, I yield with your guidance, Madam Speaker. And
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I understand.
We
give us
tend to do
guidance
that.
on the matter, Madam
okay,
Speaker.
And even not only laypersons do this. Sometimes attorneys at law, I have myself not been aware of another law and think that is the one that is applicable, not knowing that there are riders, that in other words, there are provisions that would work against. You see, so this is what I'm saying to
Madam
you.
Speaker, respectfully, as I said, I'll take your direction on the matter, and the Privileges Committee, as we are aware, that is a long-time friend, but I'm just standing on principle. So it's not a problem. We can go through the due process. It's okay. Yeah. So I'll do a formal complaint, Madam Speaker.
It has to go through various stages.
Yes, so no problem, Madam Speaker. Okay. So we'll be guided with guidance, no problem.
Speaker, on a point of order, please. On a point of order. This matter is so serious. This matter is so serious. There's a...
Which standing order are you talking about?
Madam Speaker, let me just finish. I wouldn't be long.
I'm asking you, and as I ask all members, every member who rises and on a point of order, I ask them which standing order.
Well, just some clarification I want.
So it's not a point of order, point of clarification.
Point of clarification.
Ah, big difference.
I'm saying that the matter
But two people are standing. Two members are standing, should be only one.
Yeah. What I'm saying, the matter is so serious because it's like a threat to everybody in the house. It's a serious threat to everybody in the house. If it was me, I would expect.
Just a moment. Do you understand?
The threats might be still existing.
Do you understand, member,
yes,
the difference between an allegation and a proven fact? This is an allegation a member has made. This is an allegation. And it is an allegation
so
until such time as...
House with a gun now. I can come with my gun too. If it was me, that wouldn't be the same way it would be dealt with. Oh my.
You know, the member, please try to understand. The member who brought the motion has yielded. What are you standing to say? That it is not an allegation?
Well, if he don't feel threatened, because guess what? You see my slave? I was physically manhandled by him. Look at my slave. Are you aware of that, Madam Speaker?
No, I'm not.
So a threat still exists.
Are you,
Look at my slave.
are you bringing a motion too? Are you going to bring a motion
No, I'm going
too?
to court. I'm going to court.
Well, then if you're going to
I'm
court,
going to court.
why are you... Excuse me, just one moment, please. Just one moment, please. One moment, please. If the member has decided that whatever grievance he has, he's taking it to court, why is he standing on the other member's motion who has yielded? You know, so do you want the privileges?
Yeah. Madam Speaker,
Come
yes,
on.
and he said you should some...
I'm going to ask the member to sit, otherwise I'll invoke standing order 52 on you.
But,
I don't understand you members. The process has to, you can just go to the court and say, he shot me, look, my arm, and that's the end of it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And you know, I don't know. I know so many bush medicines that calm people down. I take them too. Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, to the defense
The
of
member, he's going
Hold
to
on a
speak.
minute. Hello. Madam Speaker, to the defense of the Honorable Danny Luge, Palrep Ferozo North, I can understand why he'll feel threatened, because the Honorable Minister did say that he would shoot somebody. He said that he would shoot somebody, and he did brandish the gun.
What is that?
So I understand how he feels.
On a point of order.
Madam Speaker.
Standing order.
Gosh, where is it? I'll tell you, I'll turn to the back and tell you.
I don't know, members keep just throwing things out there, throwing things out there. Should I be then coming to the house and saying all the things that the members say about me on the radio? Should I be doing this too? Because I can. Up to yesterday, I was threatened. This is an... I'm going to, one moment please. I'm going to tell the member one last time. You be quiet and let the house be run in an orderly fashion. An allegation is but an allegation until it is proven by the people who are going to investigate it. This is how the house operates. You decided you don't want the house rules to do yours, you've gone to court. Fair enough. You're entitled to do so. But can we get on with the business of the house? Can we get on with the business of the house with your can you please?
Right here in this parliament, it was before the court, an action was taken before I was put out of parliament. Come on, be consistent.
The fact of the member, how was it done? The member can do it whatever he wants that way too. Your outbursts are disturbing the house. You don't even realize that. The member, the leader of the opposition was on his feet. Let me hear you, please.
Madam Speaker, to the point of clarification. Standing Order 5010.
Yes.
In the case of a breach of privilege, A, the member must first make a complaint that there has been a breach of privilege and then declare that he intends to propose a motion to that effect. And then B says the motion must set out the accusation in explicit but moderate terms to get all the facts of the case. Madam Speaker,
I see nothing here that says at 10A that the member cannot stand on the motion of privilege pursuant to section 35(1) and 2 and indicate that he's complaining and then move on to declare or to propose a motion to that effect. Where is the time lapse that's supposed to occur between the complaint, making the complaint, and then declaring that he intends to propose a motion to that effect? Does the rule provide for that? Can I help you?
Is the member aware that the member came to me to complain and told me that he was going to put a motion?
Or he complained to you?
He did.
Okay,
he came into my chambers.
So he has already complained?
No. He came to me and he told me what he was going to do. And I told him he came with his motion and he showed me his motion. I told him, the member is there, he can tell you, the motion is not in its proper format. I told him so. I even suggested certain changes he could have made to a motion.
No,
he's come here.
But he's proposing a motion, Madam Speaker. There's nothing in this standing order that prevents him, before presenting this motion in the House this afternoon, from saying, I am complaining against the conduct of so-and-so because of XYZ, and here is the motion that I am putting forward to deal with that.
What are you saying? If you allow me to assist, Madam Speaker. That's what I brought the House attention to 50, 10A, and 10B, because yes, he can move the motion, and it is a serious matter, a serious allegation which has been made against a member of the House. And the House can, if the House receives a report and takes a decision against a member, that there are serious repercussions if this allegation were to be true. And therefore, if we're going to make an allegation, if you out there and you say that I saw person A stole the car, you must describe the person, you must give facts. You must give explicit facts about the circumstance. So all we're saying is this. Now, if he wants time, because we did give him time, and at the time he did not circulate the copies to all of us. So, and I think the member agrees. Having brought 50, 10, A and B to him, that he agrees that his submission here. Because
let him finish. Sit, please. Let him finish. Remember, finish.
This cannot be the basis upon which the House would act in such a serious manner, because we will be leaving out the very important citing by 50, 10, A and B, particularly 10B, where you have to give explicit information. For example, the question is, and I did in fact try to assist you by giving you one piece of fact which you need to have in your case, which is the time. When did it happen?
Okay.
I could give you a number of questions which your document ought to respond to before it can be adequately considered by the House. So,
just 1 minute.
I give you one. If I'm not sure what you want.
What I want to let us know right now, as far as I am concerned, I'm following to see what steps we are taking before we reach a decision as such. Because you see, what C is saying is that the mover and the member whose conduct is impugned may speak for 20 minutes each. When they have concluded, the matter shall either be considered by the House or a select committee appointed to investigate the matter. Okay? In addition to its findings, the committee may include recommendations in its report. Now, here we are at the juncture where we agree that as far as I see, when the member tenders this, he is meeting the first part, which is alerting the House to the breach. Okay? This is how I would look at it, the alleged breach. Okay? So when by virtue of coming up with this motion, to me, it satisfies the requirement of a complaint. Members may not agree, but I I hold that view. So we've got that step one. Then the motion must set out.
Madam Speaker, may I please?
Yes.
Rule 35(1) says a motion directly concerning the privileges of the House.
Yes.
The words directly concerning the privileges, I think, is important. So there's an allegation. You've indicated it's a complaint. I'm not so sure that's correct, but it's an allegation. But is that allegation directly concerning the privileges of the House? That's another issue that would have to be resolved before we can go any further.
Yes.
So I just put that in the mix.
You see, the thing about it is, usually, in the cut and thrust of the business of the House, breaches come up that are there for everybody to see. And such breaches can be dealt with in a particular way. There are other breaches, and in particular, the breach that I'm speaking about, a member had made an allegation that persons had been prevented from coming to the House. And it turned out not to be true, or well, it was the allegation that was not what was not true. It was not said, and the Privileges Committee was instructed by the House after the process had gone through to investigate and make its recommendations to the House. And I am thinking that that might be the best way to go. But if the member bears in mind that the way it is, and according to this, only two persons will speak, the alleger and the person to whom the allegation is made. So, you know.
If you permit me, but I still maintain, Madam Speaker, based on the interpretation of the rules and what the rules say, that there ought to be explicit facts. Explicit facts. Because, Madam Speaker, for all intents and purposes, this is a court. And if an allegation is being made against anybody, the person needs to know what are the specific allegation. And the fact, because this building can be turned into a church tomorrow morning, Madam Speaker. It could be a school in the nighttime and daytime we use it for the Parliament building. It becomes the house when the mace is there and there's a Madam Speaker or Mr. Speaker in the chair. That's the only time it becomes the House or Assembly. And therefore, we need to know the facts of this allegation. I am not opposed to he bringing this motion, don't get me wrong at all. As a matter of fact, everything I have said here this afternoon is to assist him in perfecting, in accordance with the rules, his motion. Because this is a court, and we cannot allow that to be the basis upon which a serious motion is being brought against a member. And all of us, each here, have a duty to ensure that the rules are adhered to. That's all I'm saying, Madam Speaker. So we have no difficulty on the government side in allowing the member to leave the House for some time, to go and perfect it and come back, and we'll come back and we'll interrupt the debate on the motion, so that when he comes back, gives a copy, we'll see whether it's okay, and then we can take it to the next steps as mandated by 50-10. That's all I'm saying. So, and if he wants to suspend the House for 10 minutes, Madam Speaker, it's in your hand. I can move that the House be suspended. You, Madam Speaker, you have the authority.
I wouldn't. So,
no, I'm saying that
I wouldn't suspend the House.
In fact, Madam Speaker, I don't think it is fair to any member, whether on this side or that side, for such a serious allegation to be made and for there not to be the facts as stated 50-10. These are not my rules, these are the rules of the House. So we have to follow it. And we can't rely on one rule to advance something. So one matter requires your reading 5, 6, 7 of the rules. Because one will tell you how you can do it, when you can do it, who can do it. Another will tell you how to do it, and I'll tell you when you investigate how you come back. So there are different rules with different aspects of the process. What am I talking about?
No,
Did you see it? Did you see it? No, what? So therefore, fine, great. Then this is where they have to present the facts, because the whole house now, it is not only the members who will decide it, it is the whole house. And all I'm saying is that 5011 is no, I can read it. I'll read it. Yes, 5011. I can read it. I'll read it. But it has to be based on fact.
But you see, remember, this does not help your argument. It's working against you. I wouldn't even have brought it up. Because what is he saying? Remember, you're dealing with numbers, and you want to use your numbers to your advantage, member. You understand what I'm telling you?
The honourable member for Vacaz, the Prime Minister of Dominica, is focusing on facts, and there are no facts, and the facts should be spelled out. So for example, B says the motion must set out the accusation in explicit but moderate terms to get rid of the facts of the case. The facts of the case, which can be amplified when the mover of the motion at section 10E, then when the mover has the opportunity to set out his case in 20 minutes, he can go into some more details about the fact. But the facts are as presented. What do you mean?
No,
but
the
fact as the member is reporting from his knowledge, from what he saw, and from what is backed up by another member.
I think just a moment.
Two members saw the minister brandish a gun.
But you don't.
So what we're getting is, I guess, strategically, I can't blame the honourable gentleman for doing so. Strategically injecting into the public sphere, I suppose, through those who listen, this repeated allegation. The fact of the matter is we have a simple situation here. And this, as is often said, is the highest court in the land. All I'm saying, Madam Speaker, is this. The honourable member for Rural Central is entitled to make a complaint. That, I think, we've established. I don't think that's in dispute. The question is, how does he do so? And I suppose in this instance, can he make the complaint that he is seeking to make? I raised the point earlier on about privileges. Before he can get to the point of properly advancing his motion, he would need to satisfy you and this House that the motion that he seeks to bring falls within the parameters of Standing Order 35. And I pointed to the words directly concerning the privileges. And I would suggest, Madam Speaker, that if we look at what the privileges are, the parliamentary privileges, they are not anything to do with the matters that form the substance or even in any way associated or related to the complaint, if we can call it this, that has been circulated. Secondly, we go back to Standing Order 48 that he talks about. Standing Order 48 refers to a meeting, and I think I should, during a meeting of the House. As far as I can see on the document that has been circulated, there is no suggestion that during a meeting of the House, these things or this thing occurred. And you will notice, Madam Speaker, that under Standing Order 48, you have 5, if you want, paragraphs, A to E. A deals with, during a meeting of the House, a member shall enter or leave the House with decorum. That is obviously talking about something that's occurring, in other words, a meeting that's occurring, and that the entrance and exit and decorum would be relevant to that meeting. So in other words, you can't enter to disturb the meeting. It can't be talking about something that's happening outside after either the meeting or the sitting has been suspended, or indeed it has been adjourned. If you go down that list, Madam Speaker, you see things. Just a second, sir. Just a second. If you go down that list, Madam Speaker, you see that it refers to other things that clearly.
But do you want to know what he's saying, or you?
I'm just, Madam Speaker, sorry.
Members have a little difficulty in listening in silence. You can't hear when you're speaking, you know. I found that out since I was a child. When you are speaking, you cannot hear. So if you really want to hear, then you be silent. Member, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At B, it indicates, Madam Speaker, that during a meeting of the House, a member shall not read books, newspapers, letters, and so forth. Madam Speaker, the point I'm seeking to make is that clearly what that standing order is referring to are occurrences that happen during a meeting of the House. It has to do with it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the alphabet is ABC, right? Madam Speaker, can you help me?
Yes.
Alphabet is ABC?
Yes.
Okay. Honourable member for Roseau North. Madam Speaker, to the honourable member for Roseau North. A is the first letter of the alphabet. B is the second. It may well be, but Madam Speaker, I hear somebody saying this is disrespectful. The very simple thing that's being said,
just one moment, please. How many times must I warn the member for Roseau North to stop? I am listening to the member. He may not be making sense to you. He's making sense to me, and as a matter of fact, I think I should count a little, don't you? Yes. Can't you get that? I'm listening to the member, and this is a learning experience for everybody here because this has not happened before.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And so everybody's trying to pitch in to get to the right thing. If you don't want to, go and drink some coffee. But can we listen in peace, please? Look at me. I'm going to name this member. If he disturbs the House one more time, I'm going to ask a minister to name the member.
Madam Speaker, if I were you, you know when you have children who misbehave and sometimes they
you
want
put
attention,
them in a corner.
sometimes you just ignore them. That's what you do, Madam Speaker.
Come on, man. Let the House run.
Madam Speaker, if I may, perhaps something that the honourable member could gain from. He complains that he's being insulted. There is language which is parliamentary and there's language which is unparliamentary. You can speak in the House in terms that other members may not like, provided you do so within the rules, and which is why the honourable member for Roseau North would do well to learn some parliamentary language. He would get himself in less difficulty in the House. And Madam Speaker, the simple point that I make, and I'm going to sit down, is this: that Standing Order 48 sets out that the complaint must be in relation to something that has occurred during a meeting of the House. The document that was typed and circulated does not demonstrate that the allegation that is being made occurred during a meeting of the House. So if the member wants to go and rework it and then come back, that means he may have changed his evidence, then we can consider that at that time.
Well, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, let me make it very clear. We're not opposed, as you can see. All I'm doing there this afternoon, Madam Speaker, is to assist the process. Is to assist the process before we get to the point of referring the matter, if we have to refer the matter, to the Privileges Committee. Mm-hmm. But all I'm saying to the member, and I don't think the member is opposed to what I've been saying when I drew his attention to 50, 10A and 10B, that there are certain explicit facts which must be stated. You know, and the point I made, Madam Speaker, is that there's some pertinent facts. Yes, you can have them amplified in your 20 minutes submission, but they must be stated nonetheless. That's all I'm saying. So we're not. I mean, I find it strange, Madam Speaker, that we all agree, but we're finding something to disagree on. If we were here saying, look, take this motion and go where you came from with it, it's a different matter. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that there are certain pertinent facts as required by law that must be in this motion before the House can decide on it send it to the Privilege Committee or the House can deal with it tonight.
And
that's what I'm saying.
I would like to add to that, and I'm sure your colleagues sitting by you would agree that the person who is against whom the allegations are being made should clearly understand exactly what the allegations are made and when and so forth. So in light of that, and I want to come to get this thing going. In light of that, the member appears to agree that he needs to fine-tune the motion. But before you go, I would suggest, can I speak, please, the members on both sides? The Honorable Prime Minister, can I get on with what I'm doing, please? But we really need to speed on, okay? So, yes, I was saying to the member, okay, if members insist that the first part of what they wanted you to do, which is to make a complaint, if you like, you can come back, make your formal complaint, and then let us see, because as I said, it's the first time that this has happened. It's a learning experience, certainly for me. And so let us see how we do this so that we can conform to the rules and do things fairly and honorably, because we sit here and they call us honorable people, but my goodness me, sometimes our behavior belies this honorable status.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm happy to see how the Prime Minister discussed it at length, and the Attorney General also stood up. But when we were talking about that this morning, I see they didn't talk at length. But I agree, Madam Speaker. We'll go through the process. I think it would be good for my dear friend, Honorable Kenneth Daru, to get a fair process. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Okay. But, oh, Madam Speaker, I forget. So what is your substantial decision? Are we going to send it to the Privileges Committee, or are we going to the complaint?
That is not my decision to make, you know. That is a House decision to make. So let us do it step by step.
Yes.
You're going to fine-tune it and bring it back. When you come back, you're going to make the official complaint. It will be handed, because it's only two of you all that will be able to speak, if I'm to read this correctly, yes, in the first instance. And so we can go step by step.
Yeah, I wish Mr.
There is a point that the member made.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. The motion does not specifically say when the allegation, the act in the allegation, when the act took place, whatever it was supposed to have been, and I don't know when it was done. And you might want to verify the fact that when something happens in the House, in the chamber, during a meeting, as opposed to at another time. Okay? So and that is the thing. If, as I said, it is done in the presence of everybody, so there's no denying that whatever happened, the breach of privilege took place in everybody's presence and everybody saw, that is when really you get up and you say, on a point of privilege, this, that, and the other. But this is not what happens here. I sat here this morning. I never went out. I saw no such occurrence. You see, so that puts me on notice that it didn't take place when you say in the House, you're really speaking about in the chamber during a meeting, okay? So you might want to consider that as well. And you have legal advice you can seek to assist you in that regard. Okay, let us move on. The member is going to see what he can do to assist, and I'm suggesting now that we continue. We're going back, so I'm going to say debate continues, and anybody wishing to speak can rise now while the member continues his bringing the matter in a more acceptable fashion. Is anybody going to speak on okay.
Madam Speaker, I rise to give my support to the supplementary appropriation, reflecting spending from July 2016 to April 2017, as presented by the Honorable Prime Minister this morning and the Minister of Finance. Madam Speaker, I want to say that the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment has benefited tremendously through that supplementary appropriation and has been able to facilitate or to administer many constituency projects as a result of this funding. Madam Speaker, the ministry is responsible to administer the funds for projects and programs within the various constituencies across the island. And that is done, Madam Speaker, sometimes administered or implemented through the ministry, through local government authorities, or through community development organizations. And at this point, Madam Speaker, I really want to commend the staff of the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Constituency Empowerment for the efficiency and the manner in which they proceed to ensure that those projects are undertaken. Madam Speaker, I also want to commend the various village councils and organizations across Dominica who continue to collaborate with the ministry and other government agencies and to give their support in ensuring that those projects are implemented in a manner that will give credence to all of the work that the government is doing. Madam Speaker, we will see, I want to make reference to government's policy and program to improve all secondary roads across Dominica by the end of 2017. And after the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance made that pronouncement, Madam Speaker, an amount of $10,982,221.30 was administered through the ministry for 84 roads, Madam Speaker, across the island. Madam Speaker, those 84 roads, Madam Speaker, sometimes when we speak, I always like to make reference because sometimes because we speak road, some people think that it does not impact or does not benefit them. But Madam Speaker, I want to take a little time to highlight what all of that is translated to. Madam Speaker, I want to commend the various councils, as I said. I want to commend the many contractors, local contractors that were engaged in ensuring that those projects were done and done very well. And all of the people who claim ownership for all of those constituency projects and did their very best in administering government's funds. Madam Speaker, but what does that translate to as we do road improvement across the island? Madam Speaker, let us think of $10,982,221.30 within the various communities. Madam Speaker, it speaks to purchasing of material at business houses. So that is one aspect of benefit, Madam Speaker. It speaks to job security for the many people employed there. Because, Madam Speaker, the more you sell and the more income is generated in your business place, it's more likely that you will have need for more employees, and the chances of being laid off, Madam Speaker, is minimized. Madam Speaker, we need to look at those things with that eyes and for us to be able to make the connection. Madam Speaker, it speaks to the truck drivers and the heavy equipment operators and the benefits for them and their families. It speaks to empowering our local community members. As I said, all of those roads were done by local men in the various communities. Madam Speaker, we did not have to get contractors from outside of Dominica or from outside of the various constituencies to do that. And so these men are now being empowered to do the work, Madam Speaker, which translates to finance and money being generated within their families, and their children and all their extended families benefit from those activities. Employment of the many young men, and in some cases women, across the island on those local jobs, Madam Speaker. Our local authorities, as I said, our village councils, now our village councils are overwhelmed, Madam Speaker, with activities to facilitate some of the work that the government wants to do. And Madam Speaker, I want to really thank all the various clerks and all the members of the various councils who work very well with us to ensure that our money is well spent, and they report to the ministry. I want to encourage and thank all those who are reporting on a regular basis, and encourage others too, because when I stand, Madam Speaker, I need to speak from those reports that we receive as to the administration, the amount of persons employed, and all of those activities within the constituency. So I really want to thank the local government authorities and all the implementing agencies for their work in facilitating all of those projects. Madam Speaker, the income-generating activities within the constituencies will definitely improve the whole socio-economic situations of our family. And this morning, the Honorable Prime Minister said it well. Was it the Honorable Prime Minister or Honorable Douglas? When we said it is to alleviate poverty, Madam Speaker, to generate income, and to create more employment within our various communities. Madam Speaker, but I really want to remind the vehicle owners, because sometimes they do not see it because they are not the contractors and they are not the one receiving the monies, but it also translates to less wear and tear on their vehicles, Madam Speaker. It means, therefore, there is greater access and better access to the various corners within the constituency. And so everybody can claim to be benefiting from those road improvement projects that my ministry is happy to be ensuring that those things are executed well. Madam Speaker, but to do all of those, Mr. Speaker, to do all of those work, we recognize we do not want to just put the money out there. We need to ensure that the work is properly supervised. And so we see in the appropriation an amount of $54,125 was appropriated to engage a coordinator and 4 project officers who will go around the island to supervise the work and to give reports on a regular basis to the ministry to make sure that every cent and everything can be accounted for and the work is properly done, Madam Speaker. And I really want to commend the supervisors, because they are out there, Mr. Speaker, and they are going just beyond the call of duty, not just to do roads, but they are engaged in all constituency projects, because within the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment, we also do administer funds for other projects, not just roads. And so they go all out there and to ensure that they supervise all of those spending that is happening within the constituencies. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we saw for the Maho constituency, every year, government, cabinet approves a community for hosting of Heritage Day. And Maho hosted Heritage Day, Mr. Speaker. And so we saw $20,560 spent on Heritage Day. And Mr. Speaker, it's an opportunity for various communities across the country to bring to the fore their history, their skill, their talents, what makes them unique in the various community, and to heighten that awareness among community members and to enhance the celebration of independence. And so, Mr. Speaker, we were happy to be in Maho with Honorable Blackmore to celebrate Heritage Day, and that was well executed, and I really want to thank his committees for the tremendous work that they did. Again, Mr. Speaker, as it relates to cultural activities, every year, and Honorable Douglas alluded to that earlier, that money is spent on rural carnivals. And Mr. Speaker, while it is true we want to increase and we want to improve the carnivals within the city, but we know the richness of our rural carnival, and so we need to give support to them so that we can preserve our traditional mass and what makes us unique, and allow the community members to enjoy real mass. And so we saw $212,700 spent and distributed among 29 communities across Dominica to assist in the improvement and preservation of carnival activities. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not just thinking of the tongue. We are not thinking of the tongue, but this Labour Party administration is trying to ensure that we can touch every nook and cranny in the country to make sure that everybody benefits from all of the programs that we are implementing. Mr. Speaker, constituency projects. We saw $3.9 million in November of 2006 was spent for constituency projects. And the Prime Minister outlined it very well, where we gave $300,000 to 13 constituencies, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's important to note that in giving to the 13 constituency, we didn't just say that we were going to give to the constituencies where we won, but we gave $300,000 to the Marigot constituency, Mr. Speaker. Roseau South constituency got $300,000. Roseau Central got $300,000. Salisbury got $300,000. And Roseau North got $300,000. But, Mr. Speaker, it is very important and instructive to note that in those constituencies, requests were not made by the parliamentary representatives of that constituency. It was made, Mr. Speaker, by concerned community people and organizations, not by the parliamentary representatives. And that is what they are supposed to be doing, Mr. Speaker, to be out there in the constituency, identify the needs of the constituency, and bring it to the appropriate ministries. Probably I should not be telling them that. They are not interested in that, Mr. Speaker. But you have people speaking on their behalf. And importantly, too, the Prime Minister, as he said, knows every corner in Dominica, and from time to time moves around, meets with people, they raise their concern, he sees the things to be done and brings it to cabinet and gets approval for money to be spent in those constituencies. Mr. Speaker, those constituency projects, as I said, are identified by PAL reps or interested persons in the various constituencies. And that money was spent on a range of programs and activity. And that included sports, that included health, that included the construction of washrooms, housing, education, small business, just name it, Mr. Speaker. Because it is an opportunity to allow the parliamentary representative to look through his or her constituency, identify the projects that are priority, and to get the estimates for the various projects, make a submission, and then it is approved by the Ministry of Finance, and so it is funded for development of the various communities. And so these are the things that we are supposed to be engaged in, Mr. Speaker, to look at the development of our constituencies and not to destroy it, Mr. Speaker. We need to see how we can improve what exists within our constituency instead of joining and contributing to the destruction of the very things that we as government are spending money on. Mr. Speaker, we also saw to the Dominica Youth Business Trust, $1 million was given to the Dominica Youth Business Trust. And Mr. Speaker, this speaks to the concern and interest of government in our young people. That is just one little aspect. But if we have to speak about all the various programs that we continue to do for the development of our young people, it would probably take me the rest of the afternoon. And I would have to go through all the other various ministries to highlight them to you, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, that $1 million is spent to guarantee loans for the young people. Mr. Speaker, there was a time when the banks would only guarantee 75% of the loan. And the young people felt it still challenging to be able to come up with the 25%. And so I remembered the Minister of Finance raising that seriously in cabinet and saying, but nurse, we need to really look at how we can alleviate that issue, that challenge that the young people are having. And so we decided as cabinet to ask the Dominica Youth Business Trust to give full coverage for the loan, full guarantee for the loan of $20,000. That's the maximum that they can have, $20,000. And so they are not going to have to be wandering around to find out how am I going to get the 25% to do the business that I did the training for. Because quite a bit of the money, $200,000 of that money is spent on training. Training of facilitators, training of the young people in developing their own businesses, the projects, and so. And the $800,000 is set aside just to guarantee their loans. And so as a result of that, we have quite a few people, as Honorable Paul said, in entrepreneurship programs across the island. And you can, if you look at GIS, you can speak to the success story of the Dominica Youth Business Trust, where the people have been doing very well to the extent that they can now employ other people to work with them and their businesses are expanding. And so, Mr. Speaker, these are some of the ways that we look at easing up on the unemployment situation in the country. So we facilitate and create an enabling environment so the young people can take advantage of. Mr. Speaker, we saw in sports, Mr. Speaker, some spending, although, as I said, some of the various PAL reps have spent in their allocation to the various constituencies in sports development. But within the ministry itself, we have a mandate to ensure that we can work on, assist the various sporting bodies, sporting organizations, and to develop the sports facilities across the island. And so, the Honorable Prime Minister, after having a discussion with the committee responsible for the development of the Lindo Park, he made a commitment of $50,000 to them. And so we had, through the ministry, we had to facilitate that $50,000 and make sure that they got it to complete their fencing, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, at this point, I really want to commend the new committee for the way in which they spend the diligence and the transparency, importantly, in which they spend and administer grant funding from organizations. Because, Mr. Speaker, when they came to us, they were challenged because funds was made available for the development of the program, and for some reason, they were not able to complete it. And nobody could give a clear account of what the funds went into and why the project was not completed. And so we had to come in as government. We think it's an important project where they try to fence and create and enhance the environment and safety of the children when they come to practice. And so we had to facilitate that $50,000 for the completion of the fencing at the Lindo Park. Mr. Speaker, you also heard lately, or all of us may be aware lately, that we've been speaking of the indoor sports facility or the sports complex that is going to be built at Stock Farm. But in order to move forward, there are certain prerequisites, there are things that we have to do to ensure that everything is in place for the actual construction. And so we saw $36,000, $706 appropriated towards the environmental impact assessment. And so we have engaged an individual to do that assessment for us, although we have gotten the green light that we think it is quite feasible, up there is quite feasible, and we can go ahead with the facility. But however, for the architect and the designers, they would want to ensure that they have something documented. And so we are moving ahead with the impact assessment to ensure that everything is okay when we are ready to move forward, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, these are some of the areas that we saw spending under the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Constituency Empowerment. And I am happy that we were able to touch the lives, through those programs, we were able to touch the lives of many people across Dominica. Many, as I itemized them earlier, all the various sectors can say they benefit. Mr. Speaker, probably with the amount of roads that have been done across the island, you will realize of late, and not just roads, construction, of late we've been having regular shortages of cement on the island, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. And it speaks to the amount of work that is happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. I never knew that before, where in A month, 2 months, you hear no cement. In the next 2 months, you hear again no cement on the island. It speaks to the amount of work that is happening and the amount of money being circulated in the system, Mr. Speaker. And so we must recognize, we must not go through those things blindfolded. We must be objective in the way we look at things and recognize the impact of those programs on us. Mr. Speaker, some of the programs or some of the projects that were undertaken, as I said, included housing, repair, and washroom. And you know of the importance. We've been raising that. I think one of my colleagues highlighted that very well. The convenience of the washroom facilities for our elderly, for people who are bedridden, shut in, people who cannot go out there, and even think of the weather. The times that they would have to go out. If it's raining, the chances of being involved in accidents, Mr. Speaker. And so we have to try to improve the lives of our citizens. And that is what the Dominica Labour Party and this administration stands for. Improving the lives of our people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, all of those things, the housing improvement and washroom, it also enhances or increases the moral and self-esteem. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if probably you went through that, but I can speak to that. You know, people come, let us say Isidore, they come to Grand Bay and they want to use your washroom, and you're afraid to tell them to come and use your washroom because you don't really have something that is too satisfactory for them to come in. The little pit toilet at the back, maybe the structure bent on a side, it may be missing a board. You know those kinds of things. You're afraid to step on the landing because it is shaking and you're afraid that you go down in the hole. You know the situation, Mr. Speaker. And so, with the washroom programs, Mr. Speaker, our people feel good to be able to say, you want to use the washroom, feel free, my dear, come right in, you know. And the person sit comfortable and use it. That is boosting the moral and esteem of our people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those kinds of facilities cannot be just for one set of people. We have to transform the lives of our people and make our people feel they are equal to the elites, Mr. Speaker. Even if not financially, but socially, they can enjoy the benefits of those programs, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want to say that the various programs administered by the ministry has impacted the lives of many people. But allow me to make reference to my constituency, because it definitely, all of the programs has impacted my constituency positively, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will make reference to the social programs within the constituencies, for example, housing, roads. As I said, under the road program administered by my ministry, Grand Bay constituency got $1,363.75 for 5 roads and 1 drain in Mountain, Mr. Speaker. And I can tell you, I am impressed with the level of work that is going on, the way in which the contractors, and we had persons who were coming in for the first time as contractors, got experienced people to work with them so that they can ensure that the quality of the work is to our satisfaction. And so I want to commend all the contractors in the Grand Bay constituency for the work that they are doing presently. As we speak, work is moving on satisfactorily and they're moving speedily to ensure that all of those projects can be completed before the rainy season. And I really want to commend them for the amount of work that they've been doing. Mr. Speaker, as it relates to our washrooms in the constituency, people call on a daily basis to say, thank you for the washroom. At least I can flush now. I am sitting. My washroom is tiled. We have completed everything. And even the contractors, because, Mr. Speaker, we have about maybe 9 contractors now doing about 73 washrooms in the Grand Bay constituency. And I can tell you they are moving speedily. And that created employment. When we contracted each person and we give them, if it's 10, we give them 5 washrooms, what they do is that they employ other young people to work with them. They identify the skills, if it's tiling, if it's plumbing, if it's electricity, whatever the skills, and they engage them on those programs. And so I am very, very pleased with the way in which those programs are carried out in the Grand Bay constituency. And I want to say to some of those who think that funds are not administered the way it is supposed to be, I want to say I am certain that the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment is pleased with the reports that it is getting from the South, accounting for every cent of government's money spent in the Grand Bay constituency, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some of the social programs I want to say publicly, Mr. Speaker, recently I was at a funeral in my constituency, and one lady asked me to convey the message to the government of Dominica on her behalf, where her mentally ill family member had died. And she made mention, Mr. Speaker, of two of the social programs, the Yes We Care and the non-contributory pension, of which quite a few of my people within the constituency have benefited from or are benefiting from. And she said, I would really want you to pass a message to the Honorable Prime Minister and to the government, because if it was not for those programs, I am not sure how, in my absence, that this gentleman, deceased now, would be taken care of, Mr. Speaker. But yet, Mr. Speaker, some people ridicule some of the programs that we have, Mr. Speaker. But we know it is touching the lives. I can speak to the Grand Bay constituency where it is touching the lives of many of my constituents. Mr. Speaker, the public support program within the Prime Minister's office. Mr. Speaker, the part that I like the most is when I know somebody is ill, Mr. Speaker. And if it wasn't, Mr. Speaker, for the financial assistance through those programs to be able to source health care overseas, Mr. Speaker, probably we would have had a few deaths because of that from my constituency. I can speak to that, Mr. Speaker. And so I know my people have benefited, and I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and his staff in his ministry for the work that they are doing to address the many social problems that our people are having across the island. But yet, Mr. Speaker, some people think that it should not be. But Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, before I end, I want to really thank my constituents for the level of support, for the collaboration, and I want to say to them that there is still plenty more to come. We are going to start some houses in the Grand Bay constituency in the month of May, end of May to the beginning of June, Mr. Speaker. And I know some people are looking forward to that, Mr. Speaker. And so there's much more to be done. But it would be remiss of me, Mr. Speaker, not to make mention of the CBI program, just to touch it. I won't go in detail. But to say, Mr. Speaker, without that program, Mr. Speaker, some people may be saying everything we talk about is CBI and CBI, but that to us, Mr. Speaker, is very important at this point of our development in this country. And Mr. Speaker, if it were not for those funds, Mr. Speaker, many of the programs that I called out there, we would not be able to implement. Because the funds that we have in this country would have to go to education, to the essential services that we must give on a day-to-day basis. And so our roads would be suffering. We would not be able to do washroom. We would not be able to do the non-contributory pension. Quite a few of the programs would be affected. And so I want to say to people, that our people, that they must learn to appreciate the CBI program and stand in support of those programs because it is impacting our lives positively, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to end by saying, as I speak to Rude, I want to commend the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, the leader of this party that is presently in administration, for his foresight. Because you saw the show of support that we had at the gardens on Saturday, the show of support, at no extent, at no cost to the state, Mr. Speaker, to be able to mobilize our people. That is road improvement, Mr. Speaker. We did not have to put it in a supplementary appropriation because of our people came out to show support to the programs of the Dominica Labour Party administration and to give their full support to it, Madam Speaker, while others are spending their energy, time. These things, Mr. Speaker, are expensive. Time is expensive. Spending time, energy, destroying the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, somehow, Mr. Speaker, something has to be done somewhere to bring that to an end, because this is a democratic state, yes. But, Mr. Speaker, we must exercise our rights in proper way. We cannot continue to be lawless in this country and continue to do the things. And I want to say to the Grand Bay constituency, I know they are listening because they've been WhatsApping me, nurse, are you okay? I'm okay. I'm okay. Because we are covered under the blood, because we are doing the work of the Lord, Mr. Speaker. And we will continue to do the work because God is our guide and He is taking us through, and He will continue to take us through all the turbulent water until it gets to a calm. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few words, I want to give my full and unwavering support to the supplementary appropriation.
Short contribution to the Supplementary Appropriation of July 2016 to April 2017. Mr. Speaker, I will be dealing closely with the programs that have impacted my community or the Salivia constituency mostly. And I'll begin off with the social support program, Mr. Speaker, that is touching lives and mending the social disconnection and bringing joy to the hearts of the less fortunate and the voiceless of this country. We have many aspects of various programs that are touching lives of the people of Dominica and in the Salivia constituency, whether it be in housing, the Yes We Care, the 70 and over, education, healthcare for children below 18, and the senior citizens who are above 60. These initiatives, Mr. Speaker, has far-reaching positive impacts on the community. In health, Mr. Speaker, this Dominica Labour Party government has removed the financial burdens on the parents in terms of providing health care for the youth. Example, many individuals would not have contributed to the social security. Now, Madam Speaker, they could get the benefits of those who are over 60. So the fishermen, the farmers, those who did not work in any formal government work, Mr. Speaker, they are able to benefit through this program in terms of health. Further initiatives, Madam Speaker, which includes the provision of the 300 to our citizens who are 70 and over. Do you know, Mr. Speaker, how happy these individuals are to be receiving $300 at the end of the month? And every time you are visiting the senior citizens, Madam Speaker, they are always saying, merci pour gouvernement Labour, meaning thank you for the Dominica Labour Party, because it is helping them in meeting some of the daily needs that they would not have been able to meet if they were not receiving the 300 for the 70 years and over. And members of the opposition, Madam Speaker, I remembered, they criticized the program when it was brought along, saying that we are turning the poor to become poorer, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, this is the usual rhetoric, Madam Speaker. In this supplementary estimate, Madam Speaker, for housing in the Salivia constituency, we have a sum of $277,955.63 to construct single occupancy housing unit. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the recipients of these small structures, I want to thank the government of Dominica and the Korean people and the government of Korea for giving us such a gift. These recipients, Madam Speakers, they are mainly our citizens in the Salivia constituency. And I must say that they are very grateful for this contribution from the government and from the people of Korea. Madam Speaker, what is hurting me the most is when certain members of the opposition, Madam Speaker, would come to the Kalinago territory, visit certain individuals and coerce them into giving misrepresentation of what I'm doing in the Salibia constituency. I'm speaking about the Korean houses, Madam Speaker, that we have in the supplementary appropriation. And putting it on Facebook, Madam Speaker, I want to say to that member that we should never grudge one of our senior citizens who is receiving. And the member is fully aware that the same person he was interviewing is going to be a recipient of the small Korean structures, Madam Speaker. It hurts. Because when you're putting a picture out there, and you know better, as a member of parliament, we need to stop making fun of the less fortunate in this country. Madam Speaker, housing continues to be an issue in the Kalinago territory. But I'm doing my utmost best to ensure that it becomes a thing of the past. And I would challenge the member to come to the territory and see the good that we are doing in housing, take the pictures also and put on Facebook. Because if you can put the negative, you should be able to put the positive. And it is shameful on this particular individual. Madam Speaker, I condemn what this member did. And I hope one day he will have the guts to come back and apologize to the Kalinago people for what he did on his posting. Madam Speaker, most of the senior citizens, Madam Speaker, they have given to this country. And now that this country is giving back to them, we need to stop the grudge. And I'm very happy that this government, the Dominica Labour Party government, is able to put roofs over the heads of our people, put food on their table, so that they could have a comfortable roof over their head and live a comfortable life. Renovation and sanitation, Madam Speaker, is continuing in the Salibia constituency. And I also am appealing to this particular member to come to see what is happening. Because in Sineku, Madam Speaker, for example, we have 49 washrooms being built at the sum of $539,000, where we have at least 60 young individuals who are employed as we speak in the Sineku community. And we will continue to do just so. The Yes We Care program, Madam Speaker, again was criticized by the opposition. Madam Speaker, there are many individuals in the Salibia constituency who are indicating to me as their parliamentary representative that if it wasn't for the Yes We Care program, they don't know where they would be today. Some of them, because of lack of care by their own children, maybe would have gone to the great beyond. But thanks God for the Yes We Care program, that we are sending people to their homes to give them a bath, to wash their dirty clothing, to clean their house, sweep their yards, and they're saying thank God to the Dominica, for the Dominica Labour Party. As in the appropriation, in the supplementary appropriation also, in the Salibia constituency, we have received $886,000 that is currently being spent in the community for road improvements and development within the communities. And at least, Madam Speaker, we have 60 individuals who are currently employed on the road projects in the Salibia constituency. And we are building 5 roads, Madam Speaker. And this, Madam Speaker, will enhance the road network within the Salibia constituency. We will see the farmers who did not have access to their land because the road was too bad. Now they will have access to their farms. You will see increase in production of agricultural produce. And we have the Horseback Ridge Road that where we have a beautiful site for sightseeing, that we could get the tourists to come back into the Horseback Ridge Road, where they could continue promoting the Kalinago territory. And Madam Speaker, you can well imagine the impact that these projects are having on the various hamlets. So while washrooms is being developed in Sineku, we have roads being developed in Antrizal, Atkinson, the Horseback Ridge Road, the Upper Hilton Road, and the Quack Road in Sineku. So each hamlet, Madam Speaker, is benefiting from this project. And what is more, Madam Speaker, I can say boldly that if any young individual in the Kalinago territory or in the Salibia constituency is not working, it's because he doesn't want to work. Because the contractors are asking for people to put their names forward so that they can be engaged on the various projects. Now, Madam Speaker, the impact of such projects, as I said, is impacting greatly because we have the shops, the snack vendors, the families who are benefiting directly, Madam Speaker. Now you see that they have a better economic powers and economic spending. And we will see a lot of growth in the Salibia constituency in terms of business development. Also, Madam Speaker, in the supplementary appropriation, there's an amount for vegetation management, clearing of culverts and related works on island or in the country. But, Madam Speaker, I want to relate specifically from Pegwa to Pokasi. And, Madam Speaker, how beautiful and pleasant it is to traverse from Pegwa to Pokasi. Further, Madam Speaker, when I realized that in the Marigot constituency, little attention was given to the cleaning and beautification of Marigot, that I had to send a team from the Kalinago territory to start cleaning from Hilltop. And if the member for Marigot was so interested in his constituency, he would have approached the minister responsible for the National Employment Program and asked for some individuals to take care of his constituency. And if he doesn't want this, then I will have no choice to send some of my people to clean Marigot for him if he doesn't want to do that, Madam Speaker. Because I believe the country is ours for us to take care of. And we need to clean our country, keep it beautiful. When it is littered, we need to take actions to ensure that we have a clean environment where everybody will want to visit. Madam Speaker, after all the positive things that we have been doing in this country, we talk about development, not protest. And what happened in the gardens on Saturday is clear testimony that this Dominica Labour Party government is committed to the development of this country. And I believe, subject to correction, that this may have been the biggest coup d'etat ever in the history of Dominica. And it doesn't cost this state one dime, Madam Speaker. And I'm challenging the members of the opposition that instead of trying to burn down Roseau, blocking roads, preventing children from going to do their exams,
Madam Speaker, point of order, Madam Speaker. The point of order, standing order 44. Standing order 44, let me get specific. 44. (44.6). No member shall impute improper motives to any member of the House or indulge in personalities except on a substantive motion moves for this purpose. The member, Madam Speaker, is indicating that members of the opposition are involved in burning Roseau. This is factually incorrect, and I ask the minister to withdraw the statement.
I withdraw it, Madam Speaker. Withdraw, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, we need to take a more progressive approach to the development of our country, Madam Speaker. And, Madam Speaker, you can see the government. Daily, we are trying to enhance the lives of our people by bringing comfort to their homes, helping our children to go to school, to universities. We go as far as giving small business loan as little as it is to start off business. Grants, thank you. Grants, not loans, Madam Speaker. We have the opening, we have the National Abattoir, Madam Speaker, that is creating employment for our people. We have the agricultural loan at the Aid Bank. Monies that people in this country need to take advantage of to develop this country. We have the DYBT, $1 million being invested in our youth. And when we hear certain individuals say nothing is being done for the youth, Madam Speaker, it's hurting. The musicians, Madam Speaker, monies have been placed aside for the musicians. The tourism industry. Madam Speaker, we are all aware of what is happening in this country. And it's only the blind who can't see, but they can hear. The most shocking thing is people who are supposed, or people who are envisaging to become leaders, they are the ones trying to pull along the country. That's right. And all those products that we are speaking of, or all the initiatives of this government, Madam Speaker, the funds is coming from the CBI program. And when we have individuals among us trying to bring down this program, nationally we need to condemn the actions of these people and let them know that Dominica is going places. And the Dominican Labour Party will continue to develop this country so that when we leave a legacy of being there for the people, putting food on their table, putting shoes on their feet. And Madam Speaker, history will not forgive them because it will be littered with their hate and a legacy of a party of protest and a party which is not there for the poor people of this country. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I give my full support to the supplementary appropriation. I thank you.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable House be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. This Honorable House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.